Once upon a time, in a dense forest, there lived a pack of wolves. The pack was led by an alpha male and an alpha female. The alpha male was known for his strength and courage, while the alpha female was known for her intelligence and wisdom. The pack was happy and content. But there was one wolf who felt lonely and isolated. His name was Zephyr. Zephyr was a brave wolf, but he was different from the others. He was born with a rare condition that made him smaller and weaker than the other wolves. He was often bullied and ridiculed by the other wolves, which made him feel even more lonely and isolated. One day, while the pack was out hunting, they stumbled upon a group of hunters. The hunters had guns and were ready to shoot the wolves. The pack was terrified and started to run away, but Zephyr stood his ground. He knew that he was small and weak, but he also knew that he was brave and courageous. He howled at the hunters, trying to scare them away. The hunters were surprised to see a lone wolf standing up to them. They hesitated for a moment, but then they raised their guns and aimed at Zephyr. Zephyr closed his eyes and waited for the inevitable. But then, something miraculous happened. The other wolves, who had been running away, heard Zephyr's howl and turned back. They saw Zephyr standing alone, facing the hunters, and they knew that they had to help him. The pack attacked the hunters with all their might. The hunters were outnumbered and outmatched, and they soon fled. The pack had won, and Zephyr had become a hero. The other wolves realized that Zephyr was not weak, but strong. He had the courage to stand up to the hunters, and he had inspired the pack to fight back. From that day on, Zephyr was no longer alone. The other wolves respected him and looked up to him. They knew that he was a true leader, and that he had the power to unite them. Zephyr had discovered the power of loneliness. He had learned that even when you feel alone and isolated, you can still be brave and courageous. You can still make a difference in the world. The pack continued to thrive under Zephyr's leadership. They hunted together, played together, and lived together. And Zephyr was no longer lonely. He had found a family, a pack that loved him for who he was. He had discovered the true meaning of courage, and he had become a legend in the forest. In conclusion, the story of Zephyr teaches us that even when we feel alone and isolated, we can still be brave and courageous. We can still make a difference in the world. We can still inspire others to be their best selves. The power of loneliness is not in being alone, but in finding the strength to stand up for what you believe in. And that is a lesson that we can all learn from.